Good morning, Secretary Rivera. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm a big supporter and strong advocate for early education programs in the Commonwealth. And today I just want to talk a little bit about early intervention. Back home we are experiencing some issues providing the programs to kids, finding a shortfall with funding. So in the governor's budget proposal, there's a total proposal of $325.5 million for early intervention, an increase of about $11 million or 3.5%. I know in recent years, early intervention programs run by intermediate units have experienced growing numbers of children requiring multiple services. So the question comes, is this what's accounting for the increase for the line item in this program?
No, the increase in our line item will provide services for 2,000 additional children and families. So this is for an actual increase in the number of families served.
And how did the department determine the need for the $11 million for the additional 2,000?
Yes, so the recommended additional opportunities is based on a surveying or accounting of what we believe the need is.
So in the past, you've shared with the committee that there's efforts underway to determine a new formula for allocating state early intervention funds to intermediate units, school districts, and other regional providers. Can you share an update on that effort and how it's going?
The committee continues to meet intermediate unit directors as well as other advocates and members of our team, and it's expected that later this year, towards into the summer, we should have some recommendations on the table.
So I guess I'm going to ask for a statement and for you to agree or disagree with this statement. So intermediate units, from my understanding, are simply the contractors, but the Department of Education is ultimately responsible for providing these services to children. Early intervention.
It's an interesting question. So I'm processing the wording of the question.
So
when we
it's
look
the
at
Department of Education's responsibility to make sure that these services are out there, and the IU units are merely contractors to the department.
You can take it that way. Ultimately, the Department of Education is ultimately responsible for providing FAPE to students who are in special needs. So that could ring true for a number of programs, yes.
So with that said, can you tell me what the department is doing to help the IUs work through the funding challenges for providing early intervention?
So I think first, with the task force that's working on the per pupil, the cost associated with providing those educational services. Secondly, we've been working with some intermediate units who feel that the scale of economy in terms of their caseload and others might not necessarily be aligned, and have worked with them on their recommendations to kind of right-size programs where and how needed, and then also support the relationship, the partnerships between local school districts, local providers, and intermediate units to provide a more holistic set of support. So if the intermediate unit is not offering a program or a service, but there's a district that does, or a third-party provider, we work with the intermediate units to, if it's an official or unofficial contract, around how to solicit those services.
Okay, I mean, I would encourage, as we go forward, to continue working with the IU units. School districts rely heavily on them for the early intervention piece of this, and we are identifying children earlier and identifying, multiple needs, hopefully to abate them as they go older. They wouldn't need the services in the public school system as they age, that we're catching them early and we're making those corrections for the children and building that strong foundation. So I would encourage you to work with them. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for the questions.